Once again, we are on the air with Dem Talk America. Thanks to our friends at Tiger Eye Design. Tiger Eye Design, check it out. You can get a button with my name on it.
I want one of those.
Isn't that nice?
Does it have a photo on it of you?
It's got a donkey on there. So right there, because donkeys represent the Democratic Party because we're mostly asses. All right, here we go. We're here today. We're lucky to have, and we're fortunate to have one of my great friends on the planet, Carol Dahmen-Eckery. Carol Dahmen has a huge career in politics and doing all kinds of stuff, including an extraordinary advanced person for Gray Davis and Bill Clinton, among others. And she worked for Comcast for many years in political advertising, and she was the boss. She made that shit happen.
In California.
What's that?
In California.
Yeah, it's 37 million people. Maybe you heard of us, you know, I mean, that whole sort of thing. So, Carol, the reason that I'm locking you up today and hooking horns here is that we're trying to get Joe Biden back into the White House. And I want to see from a woman's pro-choice perspective, is that something that can happen? Do you think Joe Biden can win?
Of course. Of course. But motivating women, especially women that grew up with the right to have an abortion, are really critically important. You know, as you get older, you tend to get a little bit more conservative. Okay. But for me, not on this.
Right.
Healthcare access to this type of healthcare is critical, and it's dumbfounding to me, yet not knowing that Republicans have spent the last 45, 50 years laying the groundwork for what ultimately became the Dobbs decision a couple of years ago. So, you know, for my nieces who are of childbearing ages in their 20s, for them not to have this choice and access to critical healthcare is astounding. It angers, and I'm hoping that this anger will translate to the ballot box, and I think we're seeing that. Right. You know, we saw that in Pennsylvania. We're starting to, you know, say, no, you know, I don't think that it's a protest vote more than it is just Trump is not the guy.
Right. Let me ask you a question. So Trump was leading the battle on banning abortion, and, you know, just to pay, you know, his 2 cents to the Christian right and to the anti-choice people. And now he's completely flipped. Do you think one more flip-flop hurts Donald Trump at all? Or do you think he's going to walk his way through this one somehow and explain his way out?
I think people are hip to his flip-flops,
right?
If you will. I mean, he was, even before he ran for president, he had always expressed that he was pro-choice. Probably experienced that at some point in time.
He may have paid for a few abortions. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe, perhaps.
Yeah,
it certainly seems like that. Right. I think voters, especially in some of these a little bit more conservative swing states like a Pennsylvania or a Wisconsin, are right. Just will not put up with the insincerity of these flip-flops.
Right.
And I think that's where Joe Biden, even though he is, you know, a pro-choice Catholic, has stood by that issue, and he's not going to flip-flop on it. And at the end of the day, is a fundamentally very decent person,
right,
and a good president. And Trump is just out there throwing whatever to see what's going to stick to the wall. People are exhausted, Ed.
Did you see that? Did you see the piece with the White House Correspondents' Center with Colin Jost right at the end, where he talked about his grandfather voted for you, and the one reason his grandfather voted for you is Joe Biden's a decent man.
Exactly. And
Right.
I think that's what for me, that's what sums up what this election is about. It's about character and decency,
Right.
because we know that yes, age is a factor, but I have, having, we've all worked in high levels of government. You surround yourself with really, really good people,
Yeah. Right.
and
And me.
and of course,
We get the
um,
best of the best, and you say, "Hey, let's hire Ed because he looks pathetic."
but that's what it comes down to. I mean, Vice President Harris can step into the job now. Pete Buttigieg could step into a vice presidency,
Right.
absolutely no problem. I have faith and confidence that the bench for Democrats is strong. They know how to lead. They know how to govern
Right.
specifically. I'm not seeing that on the Republican side. I think it's been absent for a long time. They want celebrity more than they want government, which
Right. Well, let me ask you that. Let me ask you this. You alluded to Pennsylvania and Wisconsin earlier. Those are key battlegrounds, along with Nevada. I think New Mexico, right?
Arizona too. Yeah.
Arizona is going to be a good battleground.
Yeah.
We've kind of taken Florida off the thing. I know Georgia is a battleground. We're going to fight for Georgia. We're going to fight like hell for North Carolina. Hopefully bring Illinois and Michigan and Iowa. Iowa could be a battleground, or we could just avoid it altogether. I don't know. But we need Iowa for the math. Anyway, you alluded to some of the.
Wait, they make meth in Iowa? I did not know that. What? What? Wow,
that's corn. It's a corn thing.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Anyway, so the question is, it's suburban voters. Is it just women on the choice issue? How do we get suburban white Republican, some college educated white guys, bros in America's suburbs to vote Democratic? What do you think? You think there's a message?
That is the $1 million question. I don't know that. It's not about getting them to vote. It's because I think that they could potentially just sit this out. I think that it's motivating younger women voters, 18 to 55, 45, right, if you will, and telling the story state by state, county by county, that their rights as a human being are being rolled back,
right,
in an unprecedented fashion. I think you go and attack the white man, we attack you, not you.
Come on.
Talk about what Trump did during his time. And to me, that the most important thing, the biggest impact, was the Supreme Court.
Right.
A Biden win probably gives Democrats one or two more shots, maybe during the next 4 years.
You mean at a Supreme Court seat?
Yeah, but I think that the discussion about expanding the court needs to happen. I mean, we're not a nation of 20 million people anymore. We're 380. I think that discussion needs to happen, needs to continue to happen.
And Biden leads these discussions, right? He's not just sitting on the sidelines. 90% of the stuff, he's taking an opinion, right?
100% he leads these discussions. I mean, we've seen him in the Oval leading these discussions. He's not just sitting there. I mean, he's worked on these policies for 50 plus years. Right, that's the guy you want in the White House.
Right.
That's the guy that knows how to create and negotiate the nuances of legislation.
Right.
He's the guy you want. I
Yeah,
don't want,
right on.
you don't want Jared Kushner who cares about whatever deal he has going on in the Middle East. It's a joke. It's so Biden is the one person that you
Right.
want in the room.
Okay, let's do this. Let me ask you one more thing here, which is, if you could perfect world magic wand. I was trying to think of the way the woman used to ask this question, but if you could adjust something in the Biden campaign right now in terms of choice or in terms of any issue that you wanted that they're not doing the best job on, what would that issue be and what would you say?
The economy is rolling on all cylinders
Right.
right now. The economy is in great shape. They need to tell that story, obviously, state by state, but county by county, of the investment that the Biden administration has made back into the infrastructure of
Right.
our country, which has resulted in thousands upon thousands of jobs. It's historic. He needs to campaign on that.
Okay.
He needs to tell that story. The campaign needs to, and I think they will. We're just sort of rolling up here. I mean, people aren't really paying attention, but I think by the end of July, when these primaries have sort of run their course here, we're going to have a really good indication of where this election is going to end up in November.
Okay.
And I think you and I already know.
I feel great about it. I really do. I'm very optimistic about everything. We added over 305,000 jobs in the month of March, and the April job report hasn't come out yet, but I think it's going to be similarly as good. I mean, Biden has added right around 1 million jobs the last 6 months, and Democrats, as you know, create jobs, and through the program, the roads program, and all that sort of stuff. I'm so old, I don't remember what to call these programs anymore. What's Biden's infrastructure thing called? Build Back Better.
Build Back Better, right?
Never caught on. Never caught on.
No, and that's kind of surprising to me. Maybe they bring that back out over or a different iteration of that. But as we know, because we've lived through many, many, many presidential cycles, it's always about the economy, stupid.
Yeah, that's right.
And finding people that have benefited, especially small business owners, from not only pandemic funding, but just rebuilding in cities and infrastructure. There's good paying jobs out there, as you know.
So, Carol, just going to finish with a couple of things. One is, are those on the shelf behind you? Are those heads of your enemies? I can't tell.
They're good energy crystals. I'm sending you good energy.
Fine, whatever. All right. Thank you for coming on Dem Talk America. We'll send you one of these buttons. This one's got my, how do I do this? This one's got my name on it. Boy, there's a lot of angles to work to get the light right there. I want to thank Dem Talk America. I want to thank Tiger Eye Design once again for bringing us in. And that's the end of today's show. Thank you, Carol.
Bye, Eddie.